Welcome to the Rehrig Pacific Innovation Showcase Experience at Rise Center. We've got a little bit of the history of the company and kind of a little timeline here of where we've been and what we've done. I have the good fortune of being the fourth generation Rehrig to run this company. My great-grandfather, William Rehrig, also Will, started the company, and he was a carpenter who happened to be good with machinery. And so he'd make all sorts of machines to kind of a system in his work of making wooden products that started off in wooden battery boxes back when car batteries were in a wood box with a wood divider. He made that product. He transitioned into all sorts of wooden boxes and then eventually kind of settled in on milk crates. For a long time, that was the company's sole product, probably the largest manufacturer of crates in California. Will ran the company for 16 years. We're headquartered in Los Angeles because he lived in New Jersey and his doctor told him to go to LA where the air was clean to help him with his lungs. And back in 1913, it was clean. It was a very small town. But about 16 years in, my family had to call on his son, my grandfather, Houston Rehrig, went by Bud, to come in and take over the company in 29. And that was probably some pretty unfortunate timing because about 3 weeks into Bud's tenure as president of Rehrig Pacific Company, the stock market crashed and he had to shepherd the company through the depression. In June of 1936, we didn't sell a single thing, but due to the strength of the family and the strength of the people working in the company at that time, they managed to get it through the depression and actually managed to grow the company through there. My grandfather ran that company up until my father in '74, but eventually we switched into making a plastic crate in 1965, still making wooden crates. As we got better at making plastic crates, we were making more and more of them. It became clear that was the future. We started molding them on our own out of our new plant here in Pennsylvania, which my father had gone to start. After that went well for a while, it became clear that there was no more future for wooden crates, and we transitioned completely into plastic crates. One of the big things we did was putting a steel ring around the top of the plastic crate. It made it a more durable crate, a stronger crate. As time went on, we experimented with different kinds of innovation for crates. You can see a few of them here where we went from kind of a solid-sided crate to something that was a lighter weight crate. The steel ring disappears because it's less valuable at that point. We experimented a little bit with a wire crate with a plastic bottom. Maybe at some point, whereas the wooden milk crate has been around for a long time in one form or another as it transitioned to plastic, that square box may be finally changing after 100 years, who knows. So as we got better at manufacturing plastic products, plastic milk crates, we kind of started to branch out a little bit, and one of the first things we did, in addition to a plastic milk crate, was a plastic bread tray. Because my grandfather had a contact at a local grocery store that they had invested in getting into plastic bread trays, and he was fortunate enough to win the bid. And as it happened, he had bid this price out with 18 cents a pound plastic. And by the time the mold delivered, the plastic was 12 cents a pound. He got to keep the difference, and that's what paid for our first two molding machines in Erie, Pennsylvania. In about, I think, 1984, the city of San Jose gave us a call and said, hey, we've got one of these plastic milk crates you guys make. Is there any chance you can make us a plastic recycling bin? And as you can see, our first recycling bin looks a lot like a milk crate, and that led into other recycling bins and finally into us getting into the roll-out truck business. And it's been a wonderful business for us, and we've made a lot of great advances in that, and as we go forward, we'll continue to make great innovations in that. Similar to milk and bread, soda has always been delivered by the manufacturer. It's kind of direct store delivery. And so it was a natural next step for us. And our entry to the market really was with a company called the Pop Shop. And it was really just a shop that sold soda pop. That kind of fizzled out at one point, literally speaking, and moved into, Coke and Pepsi's of the world. And as the bottles got bigger and you got into 2-liter bottles, we got into a full height crate for beverages. Along the way, people discovered that the bottle was actually a pretty good rigid structure that could hold the weight of everything on top of it, and we moved into partial height shells like these. It debuted in 1988, and this same design is still sold today. But along the way, there's been some other innovations. Other customers want a little bit different look at it, and as you go through, you can see these different beverage crate designs. We're kind of one of the big suppliers in the beverage world, and that's led into other opportunities for us. After being in the kind of the carbonated soft drink market for almost 25 years, we noticed the need for a returnable plastic pallet. We came out with plastic pallets to be in that closed loop they have between the manufacturing facility, the distribution facility, and the end user at the store. That led to a line of plastic pallets that we've developed over the years, and we're really kind of proud of what we do in the plastic pallet world. So in addition to one of our kind of core values being innovation, another one is growth. And Mike Doka, who was the president before me, was great at finding opportunities for growth. And one of those was getting into returnable plastic containers for the produce industry. They fold and stack. They're great for distributing and actually improving the shelf life of produce. And here we've got an egg crate that's kind of innovative. It goes straight into the cooler, side folds down. So the core values of innovation and growth are kind of on display in this product here. You know, if I had one favorite crate, it'd be the milk crate. It's what I grew up with. It was always my life. I'd sit on it. There's a number of uses for it. So it was always in our lives. It was at home, and you see them all over the place. So it'd really have to be a milk crate for me.